We're still in the middle of the night. At the line, Michael has collapsed. Jack and Kate start trekking down south to bring him back to the Swan Station. Locke is asleep. Anna is bringing fake Henry Gale some mangoes. He attacks her. Locke hears the ruckus, comes in and smacks Henry in the head.
I guess he decided to start talking, huh?
They lock the door, and then she will go back to her tent at the beach to fix her head wound. Libby is here, talking to her. Back in the Swan Station, Locke is still at hatch duty. He talks to Fake Henry, asking why he let him live. Fake Henry gives some cryptic answers.
When that woman caught me in her trap, I was on my way here, John. I was coming for you.
Locke! Locke! John!
Anna will later follow Sawyer to a stream. I think the filming location for this is near the Waimea Valley, but it's not confirmed. I think if you go this pathway over here, you'll come to this location, this filming location, since the rocks and the surrounding mountain looks like the Waimea Valley, but I'm not completely sure. Ana Lucia unsuccessfully asks Sawyer for a gun. A little bit later, she'll follow him and then have sex with him to trick him out of a gun. Back at the beach, Saeed is digging a hole. This isn't the first time Saeed will simply be digging a hole. Why? Well, personally, I like the idea that this is either part of a shelter or that he is preparing a grave for fake Henry Gale. Quite chilling, since Ben will be doing the same thing on the beach camp. In the final season, Hurley wants to use the radio to play some music for Libby, liking that scene in Say Anything. He says Saeed should totally check it out if they get rescued. And you know what? My theory is that shortly after getting rescued, I hope Saeed and Hurley had a movie night at Hurley's mansion in Los Angeles, where they watched the film together. Upon being asked by Hurley about date ideas for Libby, Saeed suggests Hurley to take Libby to his picnic spot. Libby catches Hurley packing for their picnic. Back in the Swan Station, Michael wakes up and lies about what he has seen and done. Locke goes back to the computer dome, presumably to enter the numbers. Jack comes. They decide to follow up on Michael's idea. Locke, Jack, and Kate go to get the guns from Sawyer. Anna stays back with Michael. Hurley takes Libby to the secret beach, but end up in a circle, gets lost and ends up back at their own beach camp, without blankets or drinks. So Libby goes to the Swan Station for picnic blankets, while he goes out to find some drinks. This is where a mobisode comes by. Hurley goes to Rose and Bernard's tent to borrow some wine. He's caught by Frogurt.
But this isn't over. If you can't close with Sweet Libby, it's Neil time. Now and forever.
While Jack demands Sawyer to give them the guns, Anna plans to kill fake Henry, but cannot do it. Michael goes to the living area. He tells Anna he'll do it for her, but kills her. Libby comes by.
Michael?
And by doing this video series, I am now really questioning Libby's movements. She has brought some blankets from the Swan Station, but I can't see any other places where it would be other than the bedroom. So if she had gotten them and she's here, she should approach them from this angle instead of this one. Well, to solve this, I think she went to the bedroom while Anna was in the couch and Michael was maybe in the bathroom, and then she got some blankets and then went this way. Michael comes out of the bathroom, because he doesn't know that Libby is here, or else he would be more careful. He goes and talks to Anna. Libby is over here and she hears the gunshot. And then go through here and enter the living area here. Michael shoots her, enters the armory and shoots himself, freeing Henry. By this time in the show, Michael Giacchino has shown himself as a master composer, managing to give all types of scenes the desired emotional response, as illustrated in this great YouTube channel. But this ending was supposed to have music, but there's none. The lack of soundtrack elevated the scene. It reminds me of Hitchcock's The Birds. Prior to this film, visionary director Alfred Hitchcock had worked with composer Bernard Herrmann, producing some of film history's most iconic scores, such as The Wrong Man, Vertigo, North by Northwest, and Psycho. He worked on The Birds, but produced no music at all. He was a sound consultant. The lack of music gave the film an entirely different and eerie atmosphere. Another thing this ending gave birth to was a big myth many people believe to this day, the DUI Curse, a theory that was made popular after the DUI reports of those two actresses, Michelle Rodriguez and Cynthia Watros, whose characters both died in the same scene. And this YouTuber has further propelled this myth, which is a shame. Therefore, I'll try to break it down. Co-creator Damon Lindelof said in February 10th of 2006, when he rejected the rumors of the DUI Curse, that no actor would be killed off other than to serve the story. There's a video series with loads of bad or no research talking about this curse, where the video creator says this quote is dubious due to Mr. Echo being abruptly killed off in the 3rd season. An entirely different scenario. People seem to bring up that he drove without a license on September 2006, but they failed to mention that the charges were dropped because he proved to a court that he had a license, or that the episode where he died was written before said event. He was already on his way out of the show long before this event, so the Adewale situation is different. But what about this situation? First of all, Michelle Rodriguez was only on contract for 1 year. She said so herself, and those were her wishes from the beginning. Cynthia Watros was not, and the myth points to her character as the one who raises questions. Those that believe in this myth, like this guy, raises suspicions at the fact that she was killed in an episode called Two for the Road. However, the title of this episode is a reference to the film Two for the Road, that is, just like in Lost, a story about a road trip to a foreign country between a man and a woman that is told in a non-linear fashion. It is the story we see in Ana Lucia's flashback. In addition, what many, including this guy, fail to deliver is the timeline. Let's lay out a chronological timeline. February 2005. Showrunners Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse confirmed to TV Guide that they are looking for a tough leader for the Tales section. This fits the timeline because at this time the show was renewed for a 2nd season. The news of a 2nd season came to us viewers a little bit later, on March the 1st. But it was on February 16th when J.J. Abrams and Damon Lindelof contemplated how the show had been going and started working on story ideas for season 2, according to Mark Kotavas in The Lost Chronicles, that they talked about season 2, that it was the proverbial sure thing that it would be renewed, since that morning's Los Angeles Times national rankings showed immensely high numbers for Lost.
The shows have come a long way with Castaways. They've come a long way since Gilligan Island, and millions watch every Wednesday night, and we never know what to expect.
That they are looking for a tough leader for the Tales section. They were recommended Michelle Rodriguez.
You want an adrenaline rush? It'll be too large. Right here, right now. What's it gonna be?
February to April 2005. Have talks with Michelle Rodriguez and her agent about it. She only wants to do the show for 1 year, which is something Dalton, short for Damon and Carlton, were a little reluctant of, but agreed to. April to May 2005, they filmed the season 1 finale, where she appears as a guest star. May to June 2005, the writers spent 3 weeks in Hawaii, planning the major landmarks for season 2.
You know, we plan out the seasons one at a time, but in the context of a much larger plan. So as Carlton mentioned last week, for season 3, for example, we've been working for the past 3 weeks about what the plan is, and we put these sort of tent poles over the course of, say, in episode 7 we want to be here, and by episode 15 we want to be here. So we know sort of exactly what we're working towards. In the case of this year, even though you haven't seen the finale yet, we pretty much just shot the exact finale that we talked about shooting almost a year ago. You know?
Minicamp. I mean, it was amazing. Sometimes you veer off course and you get detoured, or you have to sort of move story up because you realize you don't have enough story. You know, the estimation of how long it's going to take to tell a story changes, but this year it worked out pretty much right on the money.
As well as discussing the show's future. We don't know how it looked like behind the closed doors, but these mini-camps they had every year during summer set up the big mythological landmarks each season, like anchors, seeing as how important a death scene was to the structure of season 2.
Did you kill them? And Lucia? And Libby?
There is a possibility this was one of the plot points, the anchors towards the season finale. June 7th, 2005, Michelle Rodriguez is confirmed to the press as being a main character for season 2. August 21st, 2005, the press receives confirmation that Cynthia Waters will star as series regular Libby, a role that she won over the veteran actress Jennifer Jason Leigh. November 30th, the day before the DUI. We are well into the second season. On this date, Fire Plus Water's production draft is completed, and they are laying groundwork for episodes to come. If you look at the various bonus features of the show, such as the season 3 bonus feature Lost in a Day, an episode might have finished a production draft and ready to start shooting in Hawaii, but in Los Angeles, where the writers are, they are several episodes ahead. December 1st, 2005, Michelle and Cynthia are arrested. February 10th, 2006. Rumors about killing of Michelle Rodriguez have been circulating. On this date, Damon denies those rumors, even though Michelle's contract was only for a year, which they agreed upon almost a year in advance. April 3rd, 2006. Final production draft of Two for the Road is completed. April 5th, 2006. Dave airs, which begins the mystery of how Libby ended up at Santa Rosa. Note that this episode aired after they had written and handed in the death scene of Libby, so they planted a mystery of Libby after she was killed off. April 17th, 2006. Shootings begins on the season 2 finale, which includes a flashback appearance of Libby. This was supposed to be one out of more flashbacks from other characters, where we would explore her backstory. May 3rd, 2006. Two for the Road airs. In the end, we can't deny the fact that this episode's script, where they died, was written after the DUI event. However, the road from Michelle Rodriguez being cast as Ana Lucia, Cynthia Waters being cast as Libby, and the writers planning the events in Two for the Road is a long stretch of time. The whole situation consists of a little suspicious timing, but it's not. The proof is in the pudding, as this guy says, since the proof he presents is that it's odd that the behind the scenes didn't show Libby's death.
But Libby and Watros don't appear in the clip at all, save for a brief cameo.
He refers to the Lost on Location clip. This guy who's spreading misinformation, he says that Libby's scene was added later on.
It's almost as if the producers were like, well, we might as well clean house since Michelle's going away. We'll just tack on Libby's death onto the script right here.
This is a lie. He says that it was only Ana Lucia that was supposed to be killed and that Libby was a last-minute addition without showing any concrete evidence. The script had both death scenes in it. Her death wasn't added later on, because it's all there in the script. The Lost on Location clips are always a few minutes long and just document something random on set or in interviews with the producers, writers or actors. The DVD team are entirely different people than the film crew or the writers. Sometimes they manage to get a few interviews and cool scenes. Other times they have bigger documentaries.
After I look at my horrible face in the mirror when he's done, then I forget the rest of the day that I look like that. So I'm going around, chatting with people, having lunch.
The Lost on Location clip for the season 4 finale never showed Jin or Michael, both of whom were subject to the gigantic freighter explosion where Michael died. But this isn't a secret message or handwritten note in a script. Using Lost on Location as evidence for this claim is rather weak. When Dalton was confronted on the subject, Carlton Cuse told TV Guide, "Oh great, everybody is going to think we're killing her off because she got a DUI." Damon Lindelof added, "Both Michelle and Cynthia were busted the same night for DUI, and we've got this story point coming up where they essentially both get shot at the same time. So it's going to look like this is the Lost producers' attempt to say, don't drive drunk." But as Carlton says, all is created in us was the thought that maybe we shouldn't do the plan now, because people are going to think this is a reaction to the DUIs, as opposed to this plan existing prior to the event. There are numerous death scenes in Lost that are meant to create tension and conflict. We have this with the very first major death scene on the show. Ian Somerhalder didn't have a DUI. Boone's death was an accident, but Jack realized that he didn't fall from a cliff. He was crushed. So when Boone died, we got this beautiful and tear-inducing moment, but the episode doesn't end with the somber piano melodies. Jack tells Kate that Boone was murdered, and he goes out to find John Locke.
He was murdered.
What? Jack, where are you going?
Find John Locke.
This creates tension between the characters and fuels into a conflict we as an audience love to see. Shannon was a character many found frustrating during the first season. They were building her up in the second season and further developed her character, but as soon as we got to Abandoned, we and Saeed are torn apart. This creates a conflict between the tail section and the mid section. We are also emotionally invested in this, since we know Saeed has already lost one woman in his life, and Saeed is a beloved character on the show. The dialogue and tension between Saeed and Ana Lucia goes on for the rest of the season until Saeed's hatred is shifted towards the fake Henry Gale. Also, Maggie Grace was not arrested for DUI, but the audience wasn't very convinced by the moments Ana Lucia and Saeed shared.
You got a good reason to hate me. I'm sorry.
The writers had a crucial plot point coming up where Michael betrays his friends to get his son back, but if he had just gotten rid of an unpopular character, would the mission in the last episodes have been as engaging with the audience? With the addition of Libby, the death scene would be more emotional for the characters, since she had been a warm presence, helped Claire, and was Hurley's love interest, because Ana Lucia is a character that a lot of the audience had mixed feeling about, but Libby is a character that nearly everybody loved. So to make Michael's act as heinous as possible, Libby ended up dead. To close off the DUI myth, Josh Holloway, Dominic Monaghan, and Naveen Andrews received speeding tickets in 2005, but none of them were killed off soon after. Daniel Day Kim got a DUI in 2007, but he wasn't abruptly killed off. They even had a chance to kill him off in the fourth season, but didn't. I think it's understandable that the myth exists, but now you know the full picture. Luckily, we'll explore less grim situations in the next episode. It's time to visit a Dharma station. See you then.